Okay, we're going to go ahead and get started here. I see Blackheart is in the stage, and we'll go ahead and get started on this Unreal Engine tutorials, or continue it anyway. So let me go ahead and invite him to speak. There we go.
Hello.
Hey there, Blackheart. How you doing there, bud?
I'm doing okay. Ish.
Oh, that's good. That's good. So for those of you um, that maybe you're not aware of what's going on here. We're doing, Blackheart and I were working on, maybe getting to a point where we can actually create a game with Unreal Engine. But we need to know what it's all about. We're checking all the tutorials and all that. So
We're just learning how to use Unreal.
yeah, for now.
Yeah.
Um, you know, eventually, if we get to a point where we're like, hey, we're actually in, we're using it, we're comfortable with it, we feel like, maybe it is something that we can actually make something with it, or make a game that him and I can actually make, that we can actually put up on the market, then great. We'll continue on along those lines, along down that path. But um, we need to know what it's capable of, and um, like for example, uh, I wouldn't necessarily be comfortable in trying to design anything in 3D, and obviously Unreal is majority of the time is a 3D engine. So um,
Yeah, but who says we can't take advantage of that and make a 2.5D?
exactly. There's been other games that are still kind of 2D, using the Unreal Engine. So it's not something that is impossible. It's just might be a little bit more difficult to do compared to like maybe some other engines that are out there. But
Hi there, Skyo Shift. How you doing? What engine do you guys usually work in? We used to use Unity,
well,
but after that little stunt they pulled off, we just said nope.
yeah,
No, no, no. You guys are
yeah,
getting greedy. Let's take our work somewhere else.
yeah. Well, I mean, I mean, Blackheart, you said that you worked with Unity a bit on your end.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
I was trying to make something a few years back, up until my hard drive died,
right,
and well, I got demotivated from that and haven't touched it in a while.
right. Um, I actually tried to use Unity myself in creating a game as well, but um, got hired into a new job, so that had to take a back seat. Um, I didn't really want the company going, "Oh, you're working on a coding project? Oh, okay, well, guess what? That project is now ours," or something along those lines. I didn't want them, uh, you know, having that kind of mindset where it's like, "Hey, you're working on, projects outside of work? Oh, no, we can't have that," or anything along those lines. So I was like, "Yeah,
Yeah,
okay." Um, but I haven't touched it since. So
yeah. Now we're working on like learning this, and later down the line, try to make something together.
yeah.
But first, we
So
gotta learn how Unreal works.
yeah, it's slow going, but I mean, these 1 hour sessions are kind of meant to kind of reinforce what we learned the day before,
Yeah,
and uh, with Blackheart and I kind of being able to kind of go back and forth with each other on this, discuss things that we find, that we see, we can help each other out if we're not quite certain of what's going on. So, um, the one of the reasonings, like we did try to consider maybe Godot, but I was,
Yeah,
um,
Godot had a few issues. Like, in spite of it being similar to Unity and it being open source, one, its main code is GD script, which is only usable in Godot. It wouldn't really help our curriculum, unlike C++, which is Unreal.
yeah,
And Godot also has the issue that it's PC exclusive. It cannot make anything for consoles or mobile at the current time, which would limit kind of where we can put our game once we get to that point.
right. So, um, so it's just, you know, not only, not only would Godot just not really uh, help us in later careers. If we wanted, if say, we wanted to take what we learned and get a job in another studio or with a company, then we could do that because it has, we're going to be using C++,
Yeah.
which is pretty much universal. Okay.
Yeah, it's used in a
Um,
lot of things nowadays.
good.
C++ or C Sharp are the ones mostly used.
Yeah. Well, I mean, depends on where you go.
Yeah,
But obviously, if you look at, Godot, that's only limited to game development, and that's it. Okay.
yeah.
Um,
And
you're,
GD
you
script is exclusive for them.
yeah, you're not gonna be seeing the, GD script, anywhere outside of the gaming industry. Okay. It's not like, like uh, um, like companies such as like AT&T writing using GD script to um, build their applications, for example, right? So um, just as a just as like an example. But um, so well, let's get into the tutorial portion of this, shall we?
Yep.
Okay, so last we left off. Okay, yeah. Just making sure that the web page is being shown here. We had just worked on getting ourselves set up with the artist quick start. Now,
Yeah. Where
uh,
we encounter like a few issues. One, you didn't have the Visual Studio, and my Visual Studio was out of date.
right, but we both took care of that, or at least I
Yeah.
took care of it on mine, and I'm assuming that you took care of the issue on your end since then.
Yeah, I have it open right now.
Okay,
The Unreal Engine. I already created it yesterday to test if the update I put in works, and yeah, I managed to create the new world with C++ stuff.
okay, just making sure. Um, yeah, obviously you had plenty of time since Monday, so just wanted
Yeah,
to kind of make sure. So, okay, so we are currently on step number 2 of creating folders on the quick start for the artist quick start. So it's always good practice to keep your project's content organized. Of course, the first thing you're going to learn is how to create a folder that will store your imported content. Okay. Before you get started, download quick start assets from the following link, sample assets. Is that not already added?
I don't know.
It seems kind of odd. Wouldn't would figure that
Unless it's
the
using a different kind of asset that doesn't come with a basic one.
yeah, I mean, um,
Which I
if
guess they made it that way so you know how to import your own stuff, probably.
you have the starter content here, so Okay, well, I mean,
Yeah, you do have the starter content, but maybe Like you don't have something you need from there, and you need to import something from somewhere else.
Yeah. Okay.
Is
Well.
I think that's what the purpose of this. Okay, it says we got these little assets. We're gonna use this to teach you how to import.
Yeah. Probably. Okay. So extract the downloaded assets to a location on your computer. Okay. Well. Let me go ahead and get a. Let me look on my folders right at this moment in time, and let's go ahead and get the assets over to that spot. I'm assuming that you're going to be doing the same, or have you already downloaded yourself?
I've already downloaded it right just now.
Yeah.
I'm extracting the files on a brand new folder.
Yeah.
Okay, I already extracted everything.
Same. Okay, gonna delete the zip file. Don't need that anymore.
I'll delete it later.
Okay, so from the content browser inside the editor, click Add New button. Hmm. I might need to switch this over to webcam because I don't necessarily want. I gotta be careful with, um, showing any information here. So pardon me on
I
that.
it'll depend on how you got the capture set up.
Yeah.
For instance, I'm clicking on new, and the pop-up window's not visible on my screen capture.
Craft new
Well,
folder.
window capture, not screen capture. I don't use screen capture just so I can open OBS and Discord, and
Oh,
that
yeah,
not being
yeah,
known.
yeah.
What else does it say once you hit that? I can't remember.
Okay,
Open new
so
folder.
it's gonna want you to create a new folder, name it Quick Start Content, um, and then we're gonna be double clicking the Quick Start folder. So we haven't added anything, we haven't imported anything yet. We're just opening up the folder
Okay.
in the Unreal Engine. So. So I'm going to go ahead and click the finish step on that. So naming conventions matter. Be consistent when naming folders and files. Okay. Let me know when you are good with
I
that.
already created the folder.
Okay. So you're on step 3?
Yep.
Okay. So there are a few ways to add content to your Unreal Engine 4 project. However, we'll focus on the content browser's import functionality. So now that you're inside the Quick Start content folder, click the content browser's import button to open a file dialog box, which the import is right, well, should be right next to the button according to the graphic that they're showing, but it
It is part
is,
of the same graphic in
it's
our
part,
case.
it's part of the same, yeah. So I'm assuming that there's the item here, import asset or import into Quick Start content. So I'm going to go ahead and click that.
Yep.
Um,
Import.
Locate and select the basic asset 1 and basic asset 2 FBX mesh files. So, so we need
Okay.
to, go to our to sample assets. And it was
Okay.
both basic asset 1, basic asset 2, FBX, right?
Yep.
Okay, so now it's bringing up a import options window box here. Yeah, okay. Click open to open the importing the FBX mesh files to your project. Inside the editor, the FBX import options dialog box appears. Clicking import or import all adds your meshes to the project. They're not stating anything about like the what's being shown on the import options at all. I'm you know uh, it's a little interesting in that um, I mean if you're looking at the window here, well, I mean obviously no one can see it on my stream right at this moment in time because again I'm not 100% sure I want to be showing
And
folder
my
information
OBS
for now,
doesn't capture
but
that little pop-up, but
yeah,
I did get this window of FBX import options.
yeah. There's a lot of information here being shown that it's like, you know, I could see like, you know, on some in some cases I wonder if this is something that um like artists might change, from their import files. Like they will eventually change or that they have a file and they bring it in and suddenly they're like, you know, this might be a
Mm,
skeletal mesh or something like that.
well, I'm
Um,
guessing they don't tackle these options now because there might be for probably a more advanced lessons.
I hope so. I hope so because, well, I mean, we're not, you and I were for programmers, we're not artists. So, but at the same
Yeah.
time, it'd probably be good for us to kind of know so that if we have someone that like might only have like Maya training or something along those lines, or only knows how to generate things using Maya, we might need to like let them know, um, how to interface with Unreal themselves later on. But obviously that might be later on down the road. So, okay, well,
Yeah.
import all, and there's the basic assets being added into the folder there. So let me go ahead and move this back to live so everybody can kind of see the fact that there's, these two assets, basic asset 1 and basic asset 2. So,
Yeah. And the next step is save all.
to save your imported meshes, a save content dialog box appears. Click save selected to save your imported assets. And yeah, so
Save.
save all, save selected.
Sorry for anyone that's not seeing that little pop-up windows. Like I said, I'm using a capture window and it it doesn't pick up the stuff. I don't use screen capture because, like I said, I don't want to show Discord or anything. I don't want to show OBS or anything like that.
Yeah, don't want to show anything that might be personal, so um, don't necessarily want to be showing anything that might dox us in some random way or whatnot. So we got to be a little careful. So
Yeah,
hopefully everybody will understand that. So
that's why I'm using like
um,
two window captures. One to show the tutorial so you guys can kind of get an idea of what the pop-up windows show.
yeah. I mean, if they're going to, if they go to the quick start, the documents on the Unreal Engine 4.7 or 4.27, they know, um, kind of what we're kind of looking at. I'm not saying, you know, for the most part, everything is pretty much the same except for the import. They added it into the new button, really, and that's it. Everything else has been pretty much the same for the most part. So, um, okay, so navigating to the Quick Start folder, verify that the Unreal Engine 4 created the corresponding UA or U asset files. So, so if we go to the Quick Start assets, I mean, it didn't generate the files right there. Maybe in the folder itself.
Let's see.
Okay. I found it, but it's not in the um
Yeah, I found
it
it.
it's
It's
it it's not
in
in
under the
our
project.
quick start content folder. It's in the folder under the um
Where
you
we
know,
created the project.
right, for the most part. So it's not exactly the same. So, but I mean, it makes sense in that it's not putting the assets back into where we're loading it from. You know, that's kind of keeping it contained within the structure um, of the project. So it makes sense.
Yeah.
So organize your assets so that you can easily find them. Yep. Okay, so we're gonna finish that step and moving on. So navigating to the quick start content folder in an editor, click content browser's import button to open the file dialog box. Okay, so we're doing that again, huh? Okay, well, just in case, once again, going to webcam, just being cautious, that's all. Um, so we're doing the import again.
And locate
And
selected T-Rock 04D and T-Rock 04N.
right, which um
They are
hmm,
the other two files we didn't import.
hold on, let me get another folder up so that I can kind of see what I'm looking at here. Okay, okay, so yeah. Okay, so we're selecting both of those, opening both of those. A little bit of
They're
pop-up
just in the
here.
same, just importing those things and saving it again.
Um, they're imported as a normal map according to the pop-up there. Okay, let's go ahead and bring this back live. So, confirmation box appears in the lower right corner of the Unreal Editor. Texture T-Rock 04N was imported as normal map. OK or revert. Click OK to accept normal map settings, but it kind of went away. It kind of said, "Hey, no, we're gonna go away after a short period of time." So I
Yeah,
think,
that same thing happened to me. The dialog box just like showed up and disappeared and imported everything straight up.
yeah, I think what it automatically said, "Hey, no, you're going to automatically save it. So if you wanted to revert it, then too bad." So whatever. We move on.
Yeah.
Um, so um,
The
so
rest
now
is the
we
same
do
as
the
last time. Just
yeah, save
save the
all.
selected, check the file to see if it's actually there, and that's it.
Yeah. So okay, save all, save selected, done, and then we check the folder for additional content. It's not showing it there. Am I looking in the wrong spot here?
The product on the wrong file. I opened my file where everything's saved, and it is all there.
Well, I'm looking under the my project folder, but like
Which,
I'm not quite sure what folder it's under. Okay, there we go. There's another one that actually shows the T-Rock. At first, it was only I looked I don't know the layout of the folder content right at this moment in time, so I'm not quite sure. I'm not 100% sure where they're putting um, where they're putting the overall content. But then again, I guess I could just look at um, their folder structure here of content, starter content, and quick start content there.
hmm,
So start content and quick start content, and there's all the files in that case. But um, like I tried like going to you know like looking at all sorts of different file connections and stuff like that. I went to like saved, autosaves, game, starter content, quick start content, and I see the basic assets, the U assets in saved in there. So I was like, okay, that must be where it was, but no, not quite. So it's like, interesting. So, all right, we move on.
yeah.
Um, so it looks like everything is perfectly fine. We can basically finish the step for step 4, and we can move on. You good?
Yep.
Okay. So preparing meshes for import. If you have your own meshes to import, this section is for you. Okay, so I'm assuming that this is one that um, like um, we imported meshes from somewhere else. So if if we were if we were kind of creating auto meshes ourselves or the meshes and textures ourselves using like Maya or 3ds Max, then they kind of show you how to go about doing that. So
Yeah.
I would imagine that this is probably something that we'll have to kind of skip because obviously we're not using Maya or 3ds to import these. So I'm just gonna go ahead and say finish
Yeah.
step on
It
it
doesn't seem
because
to be providing us with any pre-made for this.
yeah. Well, I mean, they specifically said at the very beginning, if you have your own meshes to import, this section is for you. So, um, we pulled, the import messages from
Yeah,
something
and of
prepared
course
for
that's what
us.
FBX it's using
Yeah,
for people to know. Okay, you must use this version or later
right,
of FBX.
right. So, so obviously that's something that uh, we don't
Mm,
necessarily need to worry about, unless, of course, you and I we start getting into Maya or 3ds Max at some point in the future. But let's face it, we're probably not gonna want to do that. You know,
no,
at
no.
least,
The only thing I'm interested in getting into is Blender,
yeah. Well, I
which I
mean,
am thinking about that about getting into it myself.
Maya does have a lot of applications out there. I mean, I used it once for a short time for a gaming company. I mean, very short time, 3 months. So I'm not saying that I'm an expert in any shape or form.
Yeah. I
Um,
never used Maya
yeah,
or Autodesk 3ds.
yeah. Um, but I'm not going to be wanting to, you know, Maya is typically the tool used by artists to generate like, 3D art and like um so um the um the game company that I was working for, they were using it for level design. So,
Mm,
the artists were actually drawing out, all the assets that were being used for it. The maps, you know, um, how everything kind of looks to the player using Maya. So,
mm.
but again, probably not something that, Blackheart and I are going to be doing. So,
No, not at the time. No.
yeah. So, okay. We're going to go on to step 6. So, creating materials. Materials are assets applied to meshes, contributing to a scene's visual aesthetic. There are a few ways to create and edit materials for your Unreal Engine 4 project. However, we'll focus on using the material editor. Navigating to your content browser, click Add New and select Material. Okay, so Add New Material. Okay,
Okay.
name your material Rock. Your rock material is now ready to be used. So I need to rename that real quick because, yeah, tabbing out, basically says, oh, you want to save the this as this name, huh? Okay, I'll do that. It's like, no, no. Oh, yeah. So rock material is now ready to be used. Double clicking the rock material will open the material editor. Oh, okay. Read our
Okay.
material how-to documentation if you want to learn more about working with material nodes. Size your textures using powers of 2. Okay, interesting. So double clicking that will open up the another window. I don't know if we are seeing, if anybody's seen that.
Uh, my OBS
Uh,
is not capturing it.
Hold on, let me see. Uh,
So yeah,
doesn't
for those watching on the browser section down beneath on my stream, yeah, that's the one I'm technically seeing right now. The one that's shown on the preview.
let's see. Yeah, there are different windows in this particular case. So you
Yeah.
know what? I'm gonna go ahead and create a brand new window capture here. Hold on, let me. Oh, let me go into studio mode here.
Yeah. If I had a second monitor, I would do screen capture instead for one monitor, have everything else on the other, but well, I don't have that yet. I do have another monitor laying on storage. It just has a broken display,
Yeah,
and nobody here sells display replacements.
yeah,
And I can't find any other way to get on one. Like I've been trying to buy a display replacement, but I cannot find any.
yeah. Okay. So we're gonna
Like even
do
my dad that works on
that.
fixing computers tried to find one and he can't find one either.
Right. It looks like it's trying to capture the OBS window alongside of this.
Mm, let me see if I can do the same, just in case. So at least I can try and show you guys. what I'm seeing. Don't guarantee I'll be able to capture it, but
Okay, let's try that, and then we will go ahead and transition,
to capture that.
and then we'll.
There.
Oh wait.
Get
Ah.
this.
Okay.
I'll put it.
I'm assuming everybody can
Right
kind of
there for now, because
see this
YouTube's
right at this
being
moment in
very
time.
quiet. That's what I'm seeing right now.
Okay, here, let me go uh to your stream there, Blackheart, so I can verify that you are indeed showing what you need to show. Oops. Okay. Okay, so I do see your window up.
Yep.
Although it's kind of in your
But it's
overlay right at this moment in time. You're still
I put it where the YouTube chat is, since YouTube side is being quiet right now. I'm not seeing any chatters. Well, the VStream chat is actually above it.
okay.
Right now, since this one only holds it temporarily, it's like right about here.
Right. Right. So.
I don't mind covering YouTube. Like I said, it's quiet. I don't have any chatters on YouTube side.
Right.
Like technically, it's like right here for me
Right.
on my screen when I open it.
But thankfully, you can still kind of see it on OBS, so you can still address anybody if
Yeah.
necessary. But yeah. I'm kind of hiding the original engine, seeing that this is the main focus of our topic at this point in time.
Yeah, I might as
So
well put it on top of the engine for now until we
yeah,
have to get back to it.
yeah. So so that's the material editor. Read our material how-to documentation if you want to learn more about working with material nodes. Okay, I'm not sure what
So
exactly they're talking about there per se, but um, guess we'll just go ahead and finish the step and move on.
yeah, because
Um,
that's what I'm gonna be the main focus. I'm gonna make it a little bigger,
yeah,
just a bit more visible.
yeah. So let me know when you're ready for step
Yeah,
7.
I'm ready.
Okay.
I'm ready.
So at this point, you should have created a new material and opened the material editor, which we have. You can define the material's color, shininess, transparency, and much more in the material editor. You're now ready to edit rock material you created. Select the main material node in the center of the material graph. The material editor will highlight the node for you when you select it. Okay.
Mine was
Um,
already highlighted by default.
right. It is the only node in the graph named after your material. So there you go. Inside the details panel, change the shading model from default lit to subsurface. Um, so inside the details panel, there's the details panel on the lower left-hand corner. Change the shading model from default lit to subsurface. Shading model. So shading
Subsurface, you
model
said, right?
default lit to what was it again?
Subsurface, I think you said. Yep, subsurface. Let me see about
Oh,
my
I went
focus
to
mode.
subsurface profile. That's not it. Yeah, there's
Okay.
subsurface. Okay. The subsurface shading model enables 2 more pins in the main material node, opacity and subsurface color. Uh, get your textures into the graph. Hold the T key and left click inside the editor graph area. A texture sample node should appear inside the graph. Okay, get your textures into the graph. Hold the T key and left click inside the there's graph area. Okay, so I'm assuming the center area is the editor's graph area. So holding T and clicking will bring up the texture sample. Okay, so there's that.
Hold on.
Are you good?
Hold the T key.
Yeah, hold down the T key and just click in that little center area right next to that, the how the rock um has all of its listings. You want to go like maybe slightly to the left or slightly to the right of that window. Click on that screen, holding down the T key, and you will
Oh,
open
I see it.
up that another window. So you got it?
Yeah, I see it. Yeah, I see it.
Okay. Yeah, I see. Okay, so you want at least two textures. Repeat step 4 until your graph looks like the image below. Okay, so we're going to need to do that again. So,
We'll put this one
so
here so
you
there's
you
no
want
other.
you want two texture samples according
Okay,
to.
there we go.
So, select one of the texture sample nodes and locate the details panel under the material expression texture base category. Okay, so under the details panel, so material expression texture base. So materials expression
There it is.
texture base, okay, I see it. Under the texture property, left click the pull down menu labeled none and select the color texture named T-Rock04D. And then repeat it for the T-Rock04N. So basically we're doing it twice to make sure um, we got um, what we need, but there's a lot of textures. So,
Yeah. Fortunately, it's in alphabetical order, so it's easier to find it. Okay, so that's D, and on the other one it's set N.
yeah, one of the nice things about they do have a search function in there, which really helps out. So you just type in T underscore rock, and you can grab both of them fairly quickly. So, okay. So there's D, there's N. Connect the T-Rock 4D texture samples color pen white to the rock materials base color pen. Okay, so we connect that to base color. Interesting, okay. Gonna move this up a little bit so I can kind of see the error and connector being a little bit easier.
There we go.
The newly connected white pin contains texture's color channels. Okay.
Okay.
Connect the T-Rock for N texture samples normal pin white to the rock materials normal pin. So,
That one will be this one.
so that one to the normal. There we go. The newly created white pen contains information about the texture's normal map. What that means, I have no idea. They're they're speaking in gibberish to me about you know uh, about that. To be honest, for me, um, I don't know what the difference is between what a base color or what a normal is. I'm not sure.
I'm guess I'm guessing like one of them's telling what color it's going to be, while the other one's telling it like what details it's going to have. like defects, cuts, or bumps, like it's shown kind of in the preview right below.
Maybe. Um,
Like on the top on the what's it called again? The Rock D has the collar, like with all the stains and on it, but if you look at N, it has like a bunch of lines, like it has like bumps or cuts. I'm guessing
mhm.
that's what it is.
Yeah.
If someone understands this, let us know.
Yeah. Um,
And just in case anyone hears a baby crying in the background, that's my baby brother just crying for food.
I can't really hear it myself, but maybe
And
someone's hearing it a little
I
bit.
don't know,
I don't
since
know.
Discord has that noise canceling, that's probably why you don't hear it. But for OBS, it doesn't cancel noise.
True. True.
Just in case anybody hears it and is wondering what that noise in the background is.
Yeah. The preview should look similar to the image pictured below. Hold the one key and left click in the graph panel to create three constant nodes. Okay. So we're holding down the one key and we're clicking it 3 times to create three constant nodes, whatever those are.
Right.
So here's the preview on the left-hand side if anybody's kind of curious as to what's going on there. Now it'd be kind of interesting if we could maybe change the colors somehow, but I'm not 100% sure how they're going to be able to how you kind of be able to do that with the what we have right now. Like, can I change the our rock to be more red, and the base color? I don't know. I don't really see a way to kind of go about doing that per se, but then again, it might be,
I mean,
um,
depending on what we bring in ourselves.
yeah.
This is using samples that were pre-made. Maybe if we were to make something ourselves or get it from another source, then maybe it would look different.
Well, I mean, I'm just saying that it would be if we're pulling in from assets from outside and we're like, no, the color's not really working out very well. Like I'm putting it into I'm putting like the asset into the game, right? And
Yeah.
suddenly the I'm trying to use a red rock and the atmosphere is sunset, right? So the red is kind of being drowned out by the sunset kind of look and feel to it, right?
Yeah.
Making it feel like the
Mm,
rock is part of the sunset, which you don't really want to have happen. So, like maybe I want to change the color a little bit or something along those lines. It would
well,
be kind of a waste of time to go back to say like Maya or Blender or whatever, change the color there just to re-upload it. It'd be nice to be able to kind of change the color here, and I'm assuming that we can. I'm just not sure.
I don't know, since it's using a texture that was made and saved.
Yeah,
Because it's not showing like that the engine itself has a means to edit textures
yeah.
on the engine itself. I mean, it could probably mess with the lighting, maybe the opacity, the gamma, but not the texture itself. I'm guessing.
I don't know. I would figure that they would allow for that to kind of to be changed, in the engine itself, or allow for a little bit of changing maybe. Obviously, if they're like going, this needs to be like completely redone or something like that, then maybe it needs to go back to Blender or But if it's something like hey, I need to change the tint in some amount or something like that, then maybe that should be something that can be done. I don't know.
Hmm.
We may find
Just
out
figure it
later.
out down the
So
line.
yeah. So okay. So
Hello, Hershey. How you doing?
okay, we only got a couple more minutes left, so we'll probably finish off this one for the most part. Get down to step 8. And we don't
Yeah,
have too many
at
more
least that.
steps left to do. So
Yeah, but we don't know how long step 8 is. It looks like it's divided into maybe three parts. No,
Yeah,
two parts.
we're not going to be able to finish step 8 today,
No.
so we'll tackle that tomorrow.
Yeah.
Um, okay, so hold the 3 key and left click on the graph panel to create one constant 3 vector. So, so hold the 3 key, create a constant 3 vector. Okay.
Okay.
The constant 3 vector node is a modifiable vector corresponding to color without an alpha channel. Okay, I'm just
I
um,
don't know what that is.
yeah, I don't know what they're talking about either on this particular instance, or I'm not quite sure exactly what they're meaning on it, but we can kind of move on from there. Read our
Yeah.
constant expression documentation if you want to learn more about working with constant expressions. So again, I mean, we may want to consider doing that at some point. You know,
But we'll
shut
probably do it off stream, probably.
maybe. Um, you know what? I'm gonna copy the link address so that I can kind of save it for later. Just so like maybe tomorrow we can go back to it or something like that. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah.
But let's move on. Your nodes should be arranged so that connections can be easily made without wires crossing or sliding beneath each other. Okay, so they're kind of giving out like a little bit of a layout there. Connect all the constant and constant vector 3 nodes to corresponding pins in the rock material main node. Okay, so one constant is going to specular, one to roughness, one to opacity, and the constant 3 vector to subsurface color. So,
Okay.
so
I'm right now arranging them before even starting to connect them.
gonna kind of um, zoom out here a little bit because there's no way that I'm gonna be able to um, make all the connections without, if I don't zoom it out a little bit. So,
Yeah. Check
okay,
it.
so to
React.
specular, one to roughness, one to
One to opacity.
opacity, and then
And
the
what was the last
three
one?
goes to subsurface color.
Subsurface color.
Okay, I'm gonna zoom in a little bit more. Okay, so specular roughness, opacity, and subsurface. Alright, yeah, okay. Change the values of each constant and constant 3 vector by updating their value parameter in the details panel. Um,
Okay.
so the specular value of 0, 0.0, so we grab that. Okay, so yeah, so the value is still at 0, 0.0, so we don't really need to change that at all, so we don't need to worry about that.
Hmm.
The roughness needs to go to zero point 0.8. So
Eight.
there we go. The opacity to 0.95.
Hold on.
You ready? Blackheart?
Mm, yeah, I'm trying to like edit it to hopefully get it to work.
Yeah, let me check out what you got there. So yeah, you click on the boxes and on the left-hand side with the detail or the um, under the details, there's the
Uh-huh.
material expression constant value, and you
Okay.
can
That's what I need to look for.
change it there. So it's 0 0.0 for specular, zero point 0.8 for roughness, 0.95 for opacity. Let me know when you're caught up there.
0.95. Okay.
We still have one more step, which is the subsurface color, which is the last
Yeah.
one, the constant 3 vector. We're changing it to red, 1 comma 0 comma 0. So we're clicking on that, or clicking on the constant, and I guess we're changing red to 1, and okay, and yeah, okay. That looks good.
Okay.
You good?
Yeah, I already said it. It's just slowly but surely updating itself.
Okay. So the preview should look similar to the image pictured below, which I mean
Mine is still updating.
I guess it's kind of blurry on from my view. It seems like uh, the preview kind of looks a little blurry compared to what they're kind of showing in the on the web page itself. So it's like,
Yeah, taking question on the webpage is like zoomed in heavily.
yeah,
Unlike what we're seeing in the editor, which is smaller. Mine is still updating the
no worries.
what it should look like.
Uh,
There we go. Update it.
okay. So make sure to save your material before exiting the material editor. You're almost done. You've just used the material editor to edit your rock material. List of all material editor keyboard shortcuts can be found by going to Edit menu, Editor Preferences, Keyboard shortcuts, and Material Editor spawn node categories. So that's pretty much it. It's just basically saying, hey, save it.
Yeah,
So
this is how you create material. Save it. You're done. Material's made and saved.
yeah. So now it's going to be going on to step 8, which we don't really want to get into right at this moment in time. That's a little too much. Step 8
Yeah,
has a
the
lot more
main.
steps to it, so
Yeah, the
um,
step 8 is massive and probably gonna take most of next stream, probably.
if not more.
If not more, yeah.
um,
So,
Depends on what's going to be kind of in there for the most part.
yeah.
So
Uh,
um,
I guess
so
the step 7 is done, so I guess I can just close the material rock itself.
yeah. So gonna go ahead and close that down, and yeah, it came right back up. And now if you look on the your original Unreal Engine, the rock, you'll notice that all the changes that we made is right there. You know, the red, the which I mean that just answered my question. You can actually change the color, you know,
Yeah.
using the constant 3 vector. So,
Yeah, I guess the other two like textures are more like the defects it's gonna have because you can kind of see the lines on it.
well, the like, okay, here, let me open up the material again here. Um,
Yeah,
the
there we go.
here, let me make sure that everybody can kind of see this real quick. There we go. So, um, you have all these, these constant values, right? That we click the one value, and we had that kind of change the specular. Um, so use to scale the current amount of specularity on non-metallic surfaces and its value between 0 and 1 default at zero point 0.5. So I don't know what exactly that particular term means, but I mean, whatever. um, Roughness controls how rough the material is. Roughness of 0 smooth is a mirror reflection, and 1 rough is completely matte or diffuse. So that much I can kind of understand a bit. So it's, I'm kind of understanding that. Opacity controls the translucency of the material. So, can you see through it or can you not? Is it something that you can't see through at all? Um, which, I mean, you might need to, um, I think if we like set it to like 1, we might lose like I think like maybe the subsurface color, for example. So hence the reason why we can kind of see the subsurface a bit more, maybe. You know, I'm not
Maybe.
I'm not sure. I'm just guessing out loud right at this moment in time. So the subsurface color here allows you to add a color to your material to simulate shifts in color when light passes through the surface. So it passes through the surface. Hmm. Okay, interesting. Um, and obviously there's other values here. Metallic controls how metal-like your surface looks like. You have emissive color controls which parts of your material will appear to glow.
That's
World
depending on if it's hit by a light source, if that part kind of shines a bit.
potentially, yeah. World position offset allows for the vertices of the mesh to be manipulated and world space by the material. So interesting.
Yeah.
Ambient
Ambient
occlusion
occlusion.
simulate the self-shadowing that happens when crevices of a surface or of a volume for volumetric clouds only. Okay, interesting.
Okay.
Not quite sure exactly what that is all about per se, but we can move on from there. And then we have pixel depth offset, which has the description of pixel depth offset.
That's that doesn't tell us anything.
Yeah, it's very um, it, explains a lot right there. Explains so much. We are blasted by how much we learned from that. And obviously there's other options there for the materials that obviously we could change um like how like it was what was it? It was the what was it that kind of changed what we could see in there again?
uh, it was
Like
um
some of the options
on
changed.
materials. Blend on materials. It was shading mode. Just you don't have to have anything selected, or even if you have selected the whole menu thing in the middle.
Right, right. It was the subservice. Right. So
Yeah. Sh-
if we change that
the
at all, then we're basically changing um what other options we can see inside that particular menu.
Yeah. In our
So,
case, we changed the shading mode, which created a few. uh you change a few options.
Yeah. Yeah. So if we wanted something, say, like, I'm clicking on the shading mode right now, and, there's some here that are talking about hair or cloth or eye. So if we wanted to, say, simulate something for, an eyeball, for example, then we might want to, um, have that shading mode set to eye, you know.
Yeah.
So maybe, I'm just speculating. So, okay. Well, that's going to be it for our, uh, so far for the artist quick start. We still got, step 8 and which, yeah, it goes quite a
Yeah,
ways.
step. Yeah.
So, um, and they're giving us, you know, uh, the option of like, changing something else, for step 9 for the most part, but it's pretty much step 8
Mostly.
is like the last bit of like major content that, you
Yeah.
know, we're going to be going through, and then we'll be going on to the programmer's quick start or programming quick start after that. So,
Yeah.
um, now, again, I don't know why they had us download Visual Studio for all this because
I have
haven't
no idea.
we haven't built anything
Yeah,
with
it's
with
not
it.
showing us any need for any form of coding so far.
Yeah, I mean, unless
Not
the
even I'm not even seeing on the preview of of step 9. I'm not seeing anything code related.
nope, not at all. Um, so the only thing that I can think of is maybe the programming quick start will kind of use the artist's quick start to kind of continue. I don't
I don't know.
I don't know
'Cause
either.
I see like programming as programming behavior into an actor.
Yeah, I don't know.
Like saying,
Um,
okay, this thing's gonna have this kind of speed, or does it have any controls? Does it have any form of physics?
that's if, of course, it wants to use the artist's quick start or not. I don't know.
We'll see.
We'll see. If it does, then great. If it doesn't, then um, once again, I question the need for those steps that they had on there for the C++. I mean, it's like, did you really
Yeah,
need this?
why?
Did you really need the C++ to get all this done? You
So
know,
far, no.
well, I don't know. Maybe there are some like maybe there's something about the materials subsection that needed the C++ for some reason. I don't know. Okay.
Yeah,
You know,
maybe the framework, yes, but not the compiler.
again, I don't know. I can only speculate right at this moment in time, but doesn't seem like it was really needed. But I mean, you know, we don't know. you know,
No, we don't know.
um, so I mean, that's the whole purpose of this little journey that we're doing right now is we're trying to learn what it's all about. So, but we'll continue this tomorrow. You go get yourself something to eat, my friend, and
Yeah,
enjoy
be
your
hungry.
Halloween content.
Yeah, now we got Alan Wake American Nightmare ready. I have no idea how long that game is. Hopefully, I can ship it in one seating since the last Wednesday of this month.
Well, we'll see, but um, you know, it,
It is a bit of a spin-off, so I don't know.
yeah. Well, I
All I
mean,
know is probably gonna be as confusing as the main game.
well, the question is it like, is the game like a version 2 or is it like a
It's like a DLC,
1.5
per se.
as a DLC? Hmm.
You could call it a DLC, but it's like its own standalone thing. And it's
Hmm.
not as big as the main game. The main game was significantly bigger than this, than American Nightmare.
It took you what 3 weeks to get through the main game?
Yep, and that's playing it once a week for roughly 4 to 6 hours.
Yeah. So
Somewhere along that line.
well, I've seen like I've played like Half-Life, for example Half-Life 2. Okay.
Oh, that game's big.
Yeah. Well, it had multiple DLCs as well. Whereas some of the DLCs were fairly long. You know, overall it had pretty lengthy storylines to it. Like
Yeah.
episode one versus the other like DLCs, which could be which was pretty much um they had like a testing scenario feel that you could kind of do in Half-Life 2. You know, that
I
wasn't that
don't
didn't really have
remember
any
seeing
kind of
that.
that didn't really have any kind of storyline to it, but it was something that showed like developer notes and stuff like that. So,
Yeah.
and you can
And
kind
it's
of
been a long time since I touched that game. And I had the physical copy for that one.
yeah.
I don't
Uh,
know if it still works. I doubt it does. It's been a long time.
yeah,
And it's been moving around quite a bit.
right. But you know, like that particular version, obviously, or like that developers, I was kind of able to get through within like the 4 hour time frame that I normally had anyway. So,
Hmm.
but again, it's like, well, that last part wasn't really an official story either. So who's to say, my friend? You might need to do like 2 weeks worth. You know,
Well, we shall see how far I get.
yeah.
I
Um,
will still try to beat it in one sitting.
Indeed. For those of you that are watching over on my channel, I'm not doing anything Halloween based tonight. I'm just doing Goat Simulator 3. So um, if you want to see the silliness of that game, feel free to step on by here as well. Um, but yeah, that's where we're gonna go ahead and call this session done for now. We'll
Yeah.
continue on with our Unreal Engine journey tomorrow, so look forward to that. And you have yourself a good night, my friend. I'll catch you again
Yep.
tomorrow. Okay?
Yeah, I'll most likely be lurking on your stream anyways, while
Yes,
I stream myself.
indeed. Ditto. All right.
Anyways,
Have a good night. I'll catch you next time, okay?
yeah. Bye.
Bye. And for those of you that are still with me here on this video, I want to thank you all for joining me on this. I appreciate your continued support. Uh, Hopefully you'll you know feel free to like ask answer any kind of questions that we might have in the comments, or right now in the chat if you want to. I'm okay with that. Um, but you know we're like I said, we're going to be continuing on the Unreal until we get to a point where um, we start actually, building a game, pretty much from scratch, you know, to kind of build something that we want to see out there in the market. But obviously, that's going to take a little bit of time and work and effort to figure out what we want to do and how we want to show it. So, but that's going to be it for tonight, for today. So, at least for this particular session. So, thank you for watching. Help me out with the YouTube algorithm. With the likes and subscriptions, that would be fantastic. That would help out a lot. Check out the description, for social media links. links that help me out directly, such as Patreon and Throne, for example, the stream team that I made, the application page, um, and various other things that are down there. So feel free to check that out if you want. But that's going to be it for today's Unreal session. We're going to be switching on over to video uploads. So if you're still with me on the stream, um, stick around. Um, but for those of you that are just watching this later, um, thank you very much for watching. I appreciate it. Hopefully, I'll catch you next time. But until then, take care, have a good night, stay healthy, stay safe, and I'll catch you strangers next time.